Ladies and gentlemen, relationships are complicated, but one of the most common misconceptions people have, especially women, is underestimating how much a man truly cares. You might assume his silence means indifference, his hesitancy signals lack of interest, or his emotional restraint suggests detachment. But the truth is often far from what you perceive. Today, I want to walk you through 8 key insights that will help you see the hidden ways men express their deep affection, ways you may have overlooked or misinterpreted. A man who genuinely cares about you isn't just paying attention when it's convenient. He's observing you all the time, even when you don't realize it. This isn't some conscious strategy. It's an instinctive reaction when someone truly matters. Think about it. Men, by nature, are problem solvers. They're selective with what they commit mental energy to. If he remembers the way you tuck your hair behind your ear when you're nervous, or the way your tone shifts when you're excited, it's not an accident. He's storing those details because whether he says it out loud or not, he values them. For example, maybe you mentioned once in passing that you love a particular type of chocolate. A few weeks later, after a tough day, he casually brings you that same chocolate without you ever asking. That's not random, it's attentiveness. He's thinking about your happiness even when you aren't around. And it's not just about gifts. Maybe he notices that you get anxious in crowded places and instinctively moves closer to you in social settings, creating a sense of safety. Or perhaps he remembers the way your eyes light up when you talk about your passions and subtly encourages you to pursue them. The reality is, men don't waste effort on things they don't care about. If he's remembering the little things, it's because those details are important to him. More importantly, you are important to him. Another way this manifests is through emotional attunement. Have you ever had a man ask, "Are you okay?" at a moment when you thought you were hiding your feelings perfectly? That's not an accident. A man who likes you more than you think isn't just listening to what you say, he's reading between the lines, picking up on your moods and responding accordingly. Now here's the catch. Sometimes women misinterpret this attention. They assume that because a man doesn't verbalize his emotions constantly, he must not be feeling them. But men express care through awareness, protection, and action, not always through words. If you're questioning his feelings, take a step back and examine whether he's demonstrating care through his ability to remember the small things. One of the most powerful signs that a man truly values you is when he begins to change for the better in your presence. And not because you forced him to, but because your existence in his life inspires him to be a higher version of himself. Men are wired to seek progress, purpose, and challenge. The right woman can activate something deep within a man, a desire to be stronger, more capable, more disciplined. It's not manipulation, it's biology. When a man truly likes you, he wants to be worthy of you. Think about this. Have you ever noticed how a man who is serious about a woman will suddenly start taking his career more seriously? He'll hit the gym more consistently, cut out bad habits, or set bigger goals. He might not directly say, "I'm doing this because of you," but the timing is undeniable. Why does this happen? Because men don't just seek love, they seek respect. And nothing fuels a man's drive more than the presence of a woman whose opinion he values. If he sees you as someone important, someone he doesn't want to lose, he will naturally begin adjusting his behaviors to reflect that. Here's a real-life example. Imagine a man who used to be disorganized and lazy, coasting through life without a clear direction. Then he meets a woman who is ambitious, disciplined, and driven. Instead of feeling threatened, he suddenly finds himself wanting to match her energy. He doesn't want to be left behind. He wants to be someone she can admire. But here's the key. He won't always vocalize this transformation. Men don't like admitting that someone has influenced them. So instead of saying, "I started working harder because of you," he'll simply start showing up differently. He'll make subtle but significant changes, like waking up earlier, setting clearer goals, or cutting out distractions. You might even notice this in the way he interacts with you. Maybe he starts dressing a little sharper when he knows he'll see you. Maybe he stops engaging in negative behaviors that he once thought were harmless, like excessive drinking or reckless spending. Maybe he starts reading more, educating himself, trying to become the kind of man who deserves the kind of woman he sees in you. This is one of the strongest indicators that he likes you more than you think, because it goes beyond fleeting emotions. It's about self-improvement, growth, and deep respect. A man will not make sacrifices or change his habits for someone he sees as temporary. If he's putting in the effort, if he's working to elevate himself, then he's showing without saying it outright that you matter, and men have an innate instinct to protect the people they care about. This protective nature doesn't always manifest in grand dramatic gestures. Instead, it often reveals itself in small, seemingly insignificant ways that are easy to overlook. If a man likes you more than you think, he will find ways to ensure your safety, comfort, and well-being, even if he never explicitly says, "I want to protect you." For example, picture this scenario. You're walking together on the sidewalk, and without saying a word, he subtly moves to the side closest to the street. It might seem like an automatic gesture, but it's actually deeply ingrained in male psychology. He's instinctively placing himself between you and potential danger, whether it's a speeding car or an unexpected hazard. Or consider a time when you were out at a social event and he subtly positioned himself in a way that made you feel more secure, perhaps standing close enough to create a protective barrier between you and an overly forward stranger. He may not openly declare, "I'm looking out for you," but his actions speak volumes. Men also protect in emotional ways. If he senses that you're uncomfortable in a conversation or feeling overwhelmed, he may step in and redirect the situation without drawing attention to it. Maybe he notices that you're growing anxious in a group setting and gently changes the topic to something you're more comfortable discussing. Or perhaps he can tell that someone's words have affected you, and later he checks in privately to reassure you. Another subtle but powerful sign of protection is when a man defends you in your absence. Maybe he hears someone speaking negatively about you and immediately corrects them. Maybe he ensures that others respect your boundaries, even when you're not around. A man who truly likes you won't allow disrespect or harm to come your way, whether physically, emotionally, or socially. And it's not just about danger, it's about looking out for your overall well-being. A man who cares will remind you to wear your seatbelt, check if you've eaten, or tell you to text him when you get home safely. Some women might misinterpret this as controlling behavior, but in reality it's an unconscious expression of his attachment. If he didn't care, he wouldn't bother. Another example is when he offers help without you asking. Maybe you mention struggling with something, and the next thing you know, he's already looking for a solution. He fixes the leaky sink, helps you carry heavy groceries, or ensures you don't walk alone at night. These aren't random acts. They're subconscious signals of his investment in your well-being. The mistake many women make is assuming that if a man isn't loudly proclaiming his feelings, he must not have them. But protection is love in action. If he's taking care of you in ways that go unnoticed by others, he's showing you how much you mean to him. One of the strongest indicators that a man truly likes you, more than you even realize, is when he starts making sacrifices for your happiness and convenience without expecting recognition. Men are wired to pursue what they value. They don't invest time, energy, or resources into something they don't care about. If he's altering his plans, adjusting his habits, or giving up something for you, it's a clear sign that you hold a significant place in his life. Consider this. Let's say he has a packed schedule, but he still finds a way to see you, even if it's just for a short time. He may not explicitly say, "I moved things around just to be with you," but if he's consistently prioritizing you despite other commitments, that speaks volumes. Or maybe he sacrifices comfort for your sake. Have you ever noticed a man offering you his jacket on a cold night, even if it means he's the one shivering, or giving up his seat so you can be comfortable? These actions may seem small, but they stem from a deep-rooted instinct to prioritize your needs above his own. Men also make emotional sacrifices for the women they care about. A man who likes you more than you think may suppress his own stress or worries so he can be emotionally available for you. Maybe he had a tough day, but when he sees that you're struggling, he shifts his focus entirely to supporting you instead of venting about his own problems. This isn't because he doesn't have emotions, it's because he values you enough to put you first in that moment. Another overlooked form of sacrifice is compromising on personal preferences. Maybe he's not a fan of romantic movies, but he watches them with you anyway because he knows it makes you happy. Or perhaps he prefers a certain type of food, but takes you to your favorite restaurant instead. Again, he's not going to make a big deal about it, but his willingness to adjust his own desires is a strong indicator of his affection. Then there's the financial aspect. A man who truly likes you may spend money on you, not out of obligation, but because he genuinely wants to. This doesn't mean extravagant gifts or grand gestures. Sometimes it's something as simple as picking up the check at dinner, getting you something thoughtful, or even covering an unexpected expense when you're in a tough spot. It's not about the money itself. It's about his willingness to contribute to your happiness without expecting anything in return. And here's something important to understand. Men rarely announce their sacrifices. Unlike women who might openly express what they've done for someone, men operate differently. If he gives up something for you, he's not going to list all the reasons why or expect praise for it. He's just going to do it. That's why so many women overlook this sign. They assume that if he's not verbalizing his efforts, they must not exist. But men don't invest in what they don't care about. If he's sacrificing for you his time, comfort, preferences, or resources, it's because you matter more to him than you realize. A man who genuinely cares about you doesn't just tolerate your opinions, he actively seeks them out. This is a powerful indicator that he likes you more than you think, because men are naturally selective about whose perspectives they truly value. If he is regularly asking for your thoughts, input, or advice, it's because he deeply respects you and sees you as someone worth listening to. Men, especially those with strong personalities, don't just ask for advice from anyone. They don't want unnecessary input from people whose opinions they don't trust. But if a man genuinely likes you, he will start consulting you on matters both big and small. Maybe he's facing a career decision, and instead of just going with his gut or asking his friends, he turns to you. He wants to know what you think, how you perceive the situation, and what you would do in his place. And it's not just about big decisions. He might also ask your opinion on everyday matters, like what shirt he should wear to an event, what book he should read next, or even which restaurant you prefer. These small moments reveal something significant. Your perspective matters to him. One key thing to watch for is how he responds to your advice. If he truly values your input, he won't just listen passively, he will act on it. Suppose you mention that a particular financial decision might not be the best, and a few days later he tells you he reconsidered based on what you said. That's a clear sign that he trusts your judgment. This extends to emotional matters as well. If he's comfortable enough to open up to you about his fears, struggles, or insecurities, it means he sees you as someone safe. Men don't typically share their vulnerabilities unless they feel truly connected. If he comes to you for guidance when he's struggling, it's because he sees you as a source of wisdom, comfort, and stability. Another telling sign is when he starts integrating your values and perspectives into his own worldview. Maybe he was once indifferent to a certain cause or habit, but after hearing your perspective, he starts seeing things differently. He may not even realize he's doing it, but his growing alignment with your beliefs shows that you hold a special place in his mind. It's also important to pay attention to whether he remembers and references your advice later. A man who genuinely likes you won't just nod along while you speak and then forget everything you said 5 minutes later. If he brings up a conversation you had weeks ago, saying something like, "You mentioned this before, and I've been thinking about it," that's a clear indication that he takes your thoughts seriously. Some women mistakenly assume that if a man isn't constantly complimenting them or professing his feelings, he must not care. But actions speak louder than words, and one of the strongest actions a man can take is demonstrating that he respects and values your mind. If he consistently asks for your opinion, listens attentively, and applies what you say, he likes you more than you think. Men don't waste time on things they don't care about. If he is making the effort to initiate contact with you regularly, whether through texts, calls, or in-person meetups, it's a major sign that you are on his mind more than you realize. One of the biggest misconceptions about men is that if they're not overly expressive, they must not care. But the truth is, a man's level of effort is a direct reflection of his feelings. If he's reaching out first, checking in on you, or making an effort to stay connected, he's invested in you emotionally. Think about it. Men are naturally driven by goals. If he wasn't interested, he wouldn't waste his time maintaining the connection. He wouldn't text you good morning just to start your day on a positive note, and he certainly wouldn't make excuses to see you if he didn't care. A common mistake some women make is assuming that if a man isn't texting all day, he must not be interested. But men don't always operate the same way women do. Many men prefer meaningful contact over constant, casual small talk. What truly matters is consistency and effort. For example, let's say he has a busy schedule, but he still finds ways to check in on you. Maybe he sends a quick message during his break just to say he was thinking about you. Or perhaps he carves out time from his packed day just to see you, even if it's for a short while. These aren't empty gestures. They're signs that you hold a special place in his life. Effort also manifests in how he prioritizes you. If he likes you more than you think, he won't just fit you into his life when it's convenient. He will make room for you even when things are hectic. If he cancels on other plans to spend time with you or adjusts his schedule just to make things work, that's a clear indicator of his affection. Another sign to watch for is who initiates plans. If he's always the one suggesting meetups, finding excuses to see you, or making plans ahead of time, it's because he enjoys your presence and wants more of it. If he didn't care, he wouldn't put in the extra effort. Even in digital communication, you can tell a lot from how a man engages with you. Does he respond quickly and with thoughtfulness, or does he reply with one-word answers and disappear for long periods? A man who genuinely likes you wants to keep the conversation going. He may not always have the perfect words, but he will make an effort to keep you engaged. It's also worth noting that some men struggle with expressing their emotions directly. Instead of saying, "I miss you," they might initiate conversations in more subtle ways, sending a meme they think you'd like, referencing an inside joke, or just checking in about something you mentioned in passing. These small actions reveal a lot about their level of interest. A real-life example of this is when a man remembers something you told him weeks ago and brings it up in conversation. Maybe you mentioned that you had a big presentation at work, and on the day of, he texts you to say, "Good luck today, I know you'll do great." That's not just politeness, it's attentiveness, it's effort. It's a sign that he's thinking about you even when you're not around. A man's effort is his love language. If he's initiating contact, making time for you, and going out of his way to be present in your life, then trust me, he likes you more than you think. One of the clearest signs that a man likes you more than you think is that he remembers small details about you, things that most people would overlook or forget. It might seem insignificant on the surface, but this actually speaks volumes about how much attention he pays to you and how deeply you occupy his thoughts. Think about how human memory works. We don't retain every detail about everyone we meet. Instead, we remember what is important to us. If a man recalls small, specific details about you, it's because those details matter to him. He's not just listening to respond, he's listening because he values you. For example, let's say you casually mentioned your favorite coffee order in a conversation weeks ago. Then one day he surprises you with that exact drink without even asking. That's not a coincidence, it's a clear sign he's paying attention. Or maybe you told him about a childhood memory, a favorite book, or a random fear you have, and then later he references it in conversation. That means your words stuck with him. He might even remember the way you like your food, the music you listen to when you're stressed, or the fact that you always wear a certain color when you're feeling confident. Men don't tend to store random details about people they don't care about. If he remembers specific things about your life, your family, your dreams, the stories you've told, then he's emotionally invested in you more than he lets on. Another way this shows up is when he remembers special dates that are important to you. Maybe he remembers your birthday without needing a reminder, or he recalls the date of an important event in your life, like a job interview or a big test. He might even follow up afterward, asking how it went. That's a sign that he's not just listening in the moment, he's actually keeping track of the things that matter to you. Pay close attention to the way he brings up these details. If he says something like, "I know you don't like spicy food, so I got this for you," or "Didn't you say you love sunflowers? I saw this and thought of you," that's a huge indicator of affection. And here's something important to understand. Men aren't always the best at verbal expressions of emotion. Instead of saying, "I care about you," they show it through actions like remembering small details and making an effort to acknowledge them. So if he recalls things about you that even you forgot, you mentioned, take it as a sign. He likes you more than you think. Jealousy, when handled in a healthy way, is a natural human response to valuing something deeply. If a man likes you more than you think, you'll notice small signs of jealousy, even if he tries to play it cool. This doesn't mean he's controlling or insecure, rather it's an unconscious reaction to feeling emotionally invested in you. Now let's be clear, there's a difference between possessive jealousy and protective jealousy. A man who likes you won't try to control you or dictate your actions, but he will have a reaction when he sees someone else taking an interest in you. It's an instinctive response, often happening before he even realizes it himself. For example, picture this. You're talking to another guy at a social event, and even though the conversation is completely innocent, you notice a shift in his demeanor. Maybe he suddenly becomes quieter, more serious, or subtly finds a reason to join the conversation. That's not random. It's his subconscious signaling that he's feeling protective over his connection with you. Or perhaps he makes a lighthearted joke when he sees another man compliment you, something like, "Wow, looks like you're popular tonight," or "Guess I have competition, huh?" These remarks might seem casual, but they often reveal deeper feelings beneath the surface. Another sign of jealousy is when he starts acting differently after you mention another man. If you casually bring up a male coworker or a friend, watch his reaction. Does he suddenly seem more interested in the conversation? Does he subtly ask more questions like, "Oh, how do you know him?" or "You guys talk a lot"? That's his way of gathering information, not because he doesn't trust you, but because he wants to understand his position in your life. Jealousy can also show up in how he behaves after seeing you interact with other men. Maybe he suddenly becomes more attentive, showing you more affection or making an extra effort to engage with you. He may not verbalize it, but on some level, he's trying to reassert his place in your life. And let's talk about body language. If a man feels even a hint of jealousy, you might notice subtle physical cues. His posture stiffens when another man is around you. His jaw tightens slightly when he hears another guy's name. He unconsciously leans in closer when someone else is talking to you. His tone of voice changes slightly when he responds to certain topics. These micro-expressions happen before he even has time to process his emotions fully. His logical mind might tell him that there's no reason to feel jealous, but his body will always reveal the truth. One of the most telling signs is when he starts making more of an effort after seeing potential competition. Maybe he wasn't vocal about his feelings before, but suddenly he starts initiating more conversations, planning dates, or being more present in your life. It's not that he didn't care before, it's just that the realization of potentially losing you makes him step up his game. It's also important to recognize that some men will try to hide their jealousy. They might brush it off with sarcasm, pretend they don't care, or even go out of their way to act indifferent. But if you look closely, you'll notice the small ways they slip up. like asking subtle questions about your interactions with other men or randomly bringing up the topic later when they think it's casual. Now, does jealousy mean that he loves you? Not necessarily, but jealousy does indicate emotional attachment, and attachment is a clear sign of investment. If he likes you more than you think, you'll notice these moments of protective jealousy, not as a sign of control, but as a subconscious indicator that he values his connection with you. And the most important thing, he won't express this jealousy with anger or possessiveness. Instead, it will come out in subtle, almost unintentional ways, like a flicker of emotion across his face, a change in his body language, or an increased effort to show up for you. So if you start to notice these small behaviors, don't brush them off, because the truth is, he likes you more than you think. Ladies, if you're questioning his feelings, step back and observe his actions. Words can be deceptive, but behavior reveals the truth. Men, don't always express love the way you expect, but that doesn't mean it's not there. So before you assume indifference, look again. You might just find that he likes you more than you think.